a little bit of your story. How did you end up in real estate? Maybe you can take us through first.
Yeah, I had an aunt when I was like 12 tell me that I would be a good business person, business owner.
At
That
12?
kind of at 12, I remember specifically I was at my cabin and it was my Aunt Pam, and she said, "I think you'd be a good business person." And I didn't really understand, what that meant. But I had a couple uncles that had businesses, and my dad was a realtor as well as my grandpa, but it didn't seem to be like a business, a storefront or something that I could take over. And so I ended up going and getting, I ultimately decided I thought I'd do international business. I love traveling. And so I have a business minor and a French major, which is about as useless as a degree as you can have in landlocked Idaho. But it got me a lot of experience. And when I just started, then I graduated here at BSU, and then I just had some, jobs that I was working my way up in kind of business.
Okay.
And then I fell into, I got fired, actually. I broke HIPAA when it first came out with my company. Kind of an accidental, but nonetheless, I broke it, and I was made an example of. And that was like
And you broke what again?
HIPAA. That's the Privacy Act.
Right.
And it had just come out way back when. And that was the worst day of my life, but it actually, I look back at that, and that was the fort, because I would have never got into real estate otherwise. I went and I was working to be a manager at a landscaping company. And then I worked part-time because they didn't have full-time for a while until I could roll in. And so I started working part-time for my dad as his assistant.
Okay.
And that was in May of 2005. And in that 6 months before I was going to kind of start full-time on with the landscaping company, I figured out what real estate was and the opportunities. And so that's kind of how I landed in that space. And then I worked, I watched people do a lot of real estate in 2005, 6,
Right. Yeah.
7. I helped my dad, Ron, do the education of Group 1. Back then, it was before it merged with Sotheby's.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
And so I administered. I was like the operations of the kind of university, the new agent university, and I administered that 12 or 13 times.
Nice.
So I was training, kind of administrating, watching, helping, and kind of involved in the training program.
Learning the back end of the business first.
Yep. And then my dad had me get licensed in the night. So I took night school and got licensed. And then, again, that's kind of just where I fell into the real estate. My dad left the company in 2007, and I think in 2008, I joined his company, his independent.
Right after or pre or during the crash?
It was
2008.
It was right as the crash was housing here. So I remember I joined him. There was a lot of it. I got engaged in June, and then I started over at his brokerage. I left Group 1, started over at his company as his assistant, but could also sell. And I remember taking a listing, and that whole summer we dropped it. And that was the first time in a long time that prices weren't jumping. And so it was the beginning of the market. September 15th, 2008, 2 days after I got married, the market crashed.
That's when it was like the official.
The bottom fell out. Like that was when the stocks all fell out. Half the country lost significant in the stocks that day. So it was right as I became an agent that the market crashed. So I knew no different other than observation for the last couple of years.
Right. What's going through your mind though? You're like, I just figured out the real estate game by learning the back end for this period of time. And now that I feel like, okay, here I go, the thing crashes. Like what's going through your mind during that time?
I think ignorance. It was just ignorance is bliss. I didn't really know. My dad was pretty upset, but it was hard to me as a new realtor. I hadn't got it figured out, and then it changed. It was just like, oh, this is what it is. And I had some early success. So I think my first week I took a sign call, which just came in. My dad was presenting an offer that morning on that property, and he said, "You just go show this." And it was probably my second day working with him. And we walked through, and they were like, "Looks good, write it up." Which I don't know if it's ever happened again in my career, where it was that easy. And then they were like, "Oh, and we have a house to sell. Will you sell that too? And we're not going to make it contingent. We'll just pay cash."
Wow.
It was all around
Dream.
and like I was like, "Well, what do you want to offer?" And they're like, "Full price sounds good." So I don't know. It was like the real estate god saying, "This is for you." So I had some early wins that I think allowed me to push through. And then my dad did not want to do short sales. And that was really a majority of our market and
Right.
only continued. And that was something I was good at too, is just being tenacious, collecting the docs, being in kind of control and forcing it through the process. So that's how I really grew my career.